facebook.com/work6. Join our team today. Local Living, Saturday mornings at 9:30 on News Channel 6. Fly direct to Washington, D.C. from Augusta Regional Airport. The live Viper 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
Well, it's relatively quiet this afternoon weather-wise. It's a pretty nice summer day. That may not be the case tomorrow, as we have a marginal and even slight risk of severe weather across the CSRA. A full look at your Viper 6 forecast is coming up.
Right now on News Channel 6 at 4, as local infrastructure projects get underway, 2 major roads in Augusta now closed. A look at when they'll reopen.
Plus, what some call a family tradition is coming to an end, why the public will no longer have access to cabins at Hickory Knob State Park.
And a couple of the candidates for mayor in Aiken are headed to a runoff. We'll have a preview as your News at 4 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brad Means.
And I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thanks so much for joining us.
Coverage you can count on begins in Aiken, where in just 2 weeks, voters will choose the
This is over the next couple days as well. We'll look at the rest of your Viper 6 forecast in just a jiffy, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Tim. Continuing now with improvements in downtown Augusta. 13th and Telfair are 2 of the streets affected.
Now you see the map there, projects that have been underway since mid-April. Tiffany Hobbs is live now reporting.
Thank you, Brad. Well, road work here behind me on 13th Street began on Saturday. It is the latest of downtown projects aimed at improving transportation. Downtown Augusta will see a total of 6 road renovations on 5th, 6th, 13th, Broad, Green, and Telfair Streets. The Transportation Investment Act, or TIA, makes these renovations possible. The act allows a 1% sales tax to be imposed to fund regional transportation improvements. Voters approved the special tax in 2010. John Usry of Augusta Traffic Engineering tells us all downtown renovations will begin by the end of the year and take 2.5 to 3 years to complete.
We're really excited that they're all starting. I know it's going to be a little difficult while they're under construction, but after they're done, I think it will really improve the look of downtown and make it much more walkable and much more friendly to people that are riding bicycles or on scooters or, some other form of transportation other than a car.
Usry tells us that this road closure behind me will be in effect until the end of the year. There's also a detour that will take you to 12th Street and then to Walton Way. He says that all motorists should expect heavy traffic in the area. In Augusta, I'm Tiffany Hobbs, WJBF News Channel 6.
All right, Tiffany, thank you. The Richmond County Board of Education wants to hear from you about changes to your property taxes. The board wants to raise the millage rate 10% above the current rollback rate in order to meet its revenue goals. But that actually means your property taxes will go down. The owner of a home worth $150,000 would actually pay $63.64 less in property taxes if that new rate is adopted. The board will hold 3 public hearings on the plan. Those will be at noon and 6 p.m. on August 22nd and at 5:30 p.m. on August 29th. The hearings will be held at the BOE headquarters on Broad Street. Columbia County school leaders are lowering their tax rate for the 3rd straight year. The Board of Education made that decision at its meeting last night. Officials say this will result in property owners paying less school tax than the estimate they recently received from the tax commissioner. The new rate will save the owner of a $100,000 home about $15 on their school tax bill. As the summer is coming to a close, so is camping season. But now one local state park is closing cabins to the public. News Channel 6's Graham Lee explains why.
Hickory Knob State Park has offered an outdoor experience for the last 50 years. Now the park manager says it's time for the next step, and that means these cabins are closed. The park welcomes close to 300,000 visitors per year from the southeast and around the country. But as of August 1st, they are no longer offering cabins for rental. This is due to wear and tear that the cabins have seen serving visitors for the last 5 decades. Park manager Rob Powell says although it's time to move on, it was still a tough decision to make.
My own family has held its family reunion here every 2 years since 2000, so it's a personal decision for me and my family too, so it affects us. But the cabin duplexes have reached an age and condition where they're just not economical or feasible to operate or repair any longer.
While the decision to remodel or demolish is still being determined, Powell says there are plenty of other alternatives for living spaces. You can find more information at WJBF.com. In McCormick, Graham Lee, WJBF, News Channel 6.
One man facing charges in Barnwell County today after the July death of another man. The sheriff's office says Cody Davis is charged with involuntary manslaughter and distribution of fentanyl. The victim died July 25th. And this comes as one South Carolina solicitor is pushing to put another fentanyl trafficking bill on the governor's desk. Chester County's Candace Lively fighting for stricter punishments for people who expose children to fentanyl. She says it'll give prosecutors the ability to better protect them. A 34-year-old woman was recently sentenced to 35 years in prison for leaving fentanyl around her 11-month-old baby. The baby died after ingesting a lethal amount of the drug.
It was tough because I wanted to make sure the jury understands that even though this was a child who didn't have like marks on them from being, like physically abused, it was just as dangerous. It was still neglect.
Lively says she hopes to have a senator introduce legislation at the next session of the General Assembly. Well, a key deadline for food assistance benefits for some South Carolina families is fast approaching. Jason Raven has that.
The State Department of Social Services says more than 70,000 of the 500,000 families eligible for the Pandemic EBT or PEBT program have done this so far. Families eligible for the federal Pandemic EBT program have until Thursday, August 10th at 5 p.m. to verify their address. Students who qualify for free or reduced lunch are typically eligible for Pandemic EBT. DSS says they collect the addresses from your child's school district and Department of Education, so if you moved anytime in the last 12 months, make sure it's up to date. The PEBT cards will be sent out in mid-September, but if your address is not updated, it could lead to a delay in receiving these benefits.
Last time that the agency administered PEBT, there were thousands of cards that were returned for bad addresses or just marked undeliverable. And what better way to make sure that if you need that card and you need that help to put food on your family's table, it takes less than 5 minutes, and you've got until August 10th at 5 p.m. to verify your address.
And DSS says making sure addresses are verified also helps taxpayers avoid having to cover the cost of replacing cards. In Columbia, I'm Jason Raven.
Coming up, details on NASA's Artemis rocket and Orion space capsule.
Hear from the astronauts who are going to fly on that mission. Pretty exciting times for them for sure as the space agency looks to see what else it can discover up there. We'll go behind the scenes as News Channel 6 at 4 continues.
Welcome back, everyone. NASA's Artemis 2 mission will send a crew around the moon for the first time in 50 years.
Amanda Holly now speaking with a few of the astronauts scheduled to fly.
The crew of the Artemis 2 mission will fly almost 6,000.
There comes a time in every dip's life when it's ready to leave the slow cooker, even buffalo chicken dip. So we put juicy chicken, buffalo sauce, and melty cheese in a portable crispy golden shell. Runaway dip. You're free now. Sonic $2.99 buffalo chicken dip bites.
Welcome back, everyone. NASA's Artemis 2 mission will send a crew around the moon for the first time in 50 years.
Amanda Holly now speaking with a few of the astronauts scheduled to fly.
The crew of the Artemis 2 mission will fly almost 6,000 miles beyond the moon inside this Orion capsule right here. That's deeper into space than any human has been before. After being the first crew to launch on top of NASA's powerful SLS rocket, they will spend 10 days in space, and they couldn't be more excited.
I'm excited that we are doing this. I'm excited that it's going to lead to an Artemis campaign that's going to put people back on the moon in a sustained fashion. We're going to take that, what we learned there, and go on to Mars. That's what I'm excited about.
The astronauts will live inside this Orion capsule behind me. It'll be the only thing protecting them from the harsh elements of space for an almost 10-day mission. Although they won't land on the moon, they will be busy.
I think the biggest thing for our crew is setting the stage for our colleagues in Artemis 3 and 4, doing everything we can to make sure the Orion spaceship is ready for humans, is ready to go complete the follow-on missions.
They are excited, but they do know this mission is not without risk.
I worry for the sake of my kids, for my family, and for the sake of the program. Anything could go wrong. But I know that these teams have developed this spaceship with layers of redundancy.
There are those discoveries in overcoming this very hard environment that are going to fill us and our nature as discoverers and as adventurers.
At 11 feet high, Orion is designed for a crew of 4, along with life support systems, avionics, a bathroom, and exercise equipment. The parachutes that slow the capsule down as it re-enters Earth's atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour are also integrated within the capsule.
Artemis 2 is currently scheduled to launch late next year.
Yeah, and you heard the astronauts talking about it. If their mission is successful, it'll pave the way for the next historic trips to the moon, this time around, to put humans on the surface of the moon.
Coming up, another nice day outside.
Tim Miller has a look at what we can expect for the rest of the afternoon and into the evening when we come back.
I'm attorney.
Boys, give us a call today.
There's so many options when it comes to choosing a personal injury lawyer.
Some claim to get you big bucks, and some say they never lose. So how do you choose?
We say, at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about you.
It's about you.
At the Icos Law Firm, we will work to get you the justice you deserve.
Create
The Live Viper 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
After a relatively quiet day today with plenty of sunshine and some great temperatures, that's going to be changing as we go through the next couple days with our chances of some storms returning and even some severe weather as we have a marginal to slight risk of severe weather across the CSRA. We'll talk about that in full detail coming up.
Right now on News Channel 6 at 6, projects in downtown Augusta leading to some road closures. What that means if you have to drive in that area.
Plus, the Aiken mayoral race is headed to a runoff. What voters have to say.
And why one state park is no longer offering cabins for rent. As your news at 6 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 6.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Brad Means.
And I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on begins with downtown Augusta infrastructure projects. Several of the projects have been underway since mid-April. News Channel 6's Tiffany Hobbs is live downtown now with the latest. Tiffany?
Thank you. Well, road work behind me here on 13th Street began on Saturday. It is the latest in downtown renovations aimed at improving transportation.
Downtown Augusta will see a total of 6 road renovations on 5th, 6th, 13th, Broad, Green, and Telfair Streets.
We're doing a lot of work downtown. We're going to reconstruct a lot of the streets, improve the drainage, improve the street lighting, a lot of landscape improvements and new trees and all that. And so it should look really nice when we're done.
The Transportation Investment Act, or TIA, makes these renovations possible. The act allows a 1% sales tax to be imposed to fund regional transportation improvements. Voters approved the special tax in 2010. Uzri says the closures at 13th Street will last 4 to 5 months.
It's going to take them a long time to do the work that they need to do. That particular bridge and that area hasn't been touched in decades. And so, the construction is going to take a while.
While Uzri says the city is doing its best to inform the public, he says you can also sign up on AugustaDTP.com for information and updates.
If anybody's interested in what's going on downtown and what's going to be closed and what the traffic control is and where they're working and, a little bit what they're doing, I would encourage you to go to that website.
And if you want to see a preview of what's in store,
if you're interested in what it will all look like when it's done, you can go down to 9th Street near Telfair, which is where the library is, and that street we've already done. So take a look at that street, and that's sort of the plan for the rest of the streets.
Esri tells us all downtown renovations will begin by the end of the year and take 2.5 to 3 years to complete.
We're just really excited. We've been talking about them for years, and we're really excited that they're all starting. I know it's going to be a little difficult while they're under construction, but after they're done, I think it will really improve the look of downtown and make it much more walkable and much more friendly to people that are riding bicycles or on scooters or some other form of transportation other than a car.
Now, Esri tells us that this 13th Street closure will be in effect until the end of the year. There is a detour that takes you to 12th Street and then to Walton Way, and he advises that all motorists expect heavy traffic in the area. In Augusta, I'm Tiffany Hobbs, WJBF, News Channel 6.
The mayor's race in Aiken is not over yet.
Yes, family too, so it affects us. But the cabin duplexes have reached an age and condition where they're just not economical or feasible to operate or repair any longer.
So what are they going to do? We don't know if they'll demolish them or try to remodel them. We should have a decision sometime over the next year. Coming out, the FBI warning students as they go back to school.
What cyber scams are on the rise with college students when your News at 6 returns. The FBI is warning students about a fake employment scam. Investigators say scammers offer phony jobs on college employment websites or even in a student's college inbox, recruiting them for positions that don't exist. The FBI says as a result, the student's bank account may be closed and their credit score affected.
If you're a college student or young individual and you're being asked to open an account for someone else that's not for your use, you are complicit in a federal felony, and you could get a lot of trouble and potential jail time from that activity. So
the FBI says most scam emails will have incorrect grammar and spelling issues, and you should always forward suspicious emails to your college's IT department.
South Carolina now, where health department workers are asking families to update their information so they can keep getting their benefits.